Well, speaking of another surprise, Shane, Missouri beats South Carolina 31-28, and this was another one where maybe it was like, well, maybe this tells us more about the Florida Gators than it does the South Carolina Gamecocks last week, because what was the same thing I was harping on all week. South Carolina has got to establish the run, and Missouri, you think they'll be able to run all over them. They shut that down for the vast majority of the day. The offensive line is a train wreck for the Gamecocks. Missouri was all over Jason Brown, who I thought, even though he had some turnovers here, Shane, he was about the only life we had on offense outside of a run here or there, but he was running for his life the entire game. Connor Bazelak he did get the start, Shane, and he looked okay. This game started, it was literally a pair of turnovers. They switched turnovers on each other, and man, it was a sloppy game. Missouri jumped out to a big lead. Tyler Beatty had another 200-yard performance. My goodness, Shane, he is outstanding. He's on his way to All-American status. Fourth 200-yard rushing performance of the season for Tyler Beatty. But then once we lock this up 31-14, we're going to blow out the Gamecocks. Then Mizzou has a pair of turnovers to cracks the door open for the Gamecocks. But, man, this has got to be just an embarrassing performance if you're a Gamecock, because you had all the momentum in the world. Here was your opportunity to get to a bowl game. Now you got to face Auburn at home and Clemson. You got to pull an upset on one of those games to get to a bowl game. Whereas Missouri now you're much more realistic. Your chances to get to the postseason, you just got to beat Florida or Arkansas. But, I don't know. What's your thoughts on this one, Shane? Missouri getting that big win. But, again, at the end of the day, Bazelak kind of self-destructed there. So, I don't know how confident we are going down the stretch either for Missouri.
Well, 1 second, Mike. I'm trying to Google and see if Marcus Satterfield is still employed. Yeah, looks like they still kept him another week, I guess. Maybe next week is his week. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. Golly, Mike, I'm going to tell you right now, South Carolina offense, just when I think they finally got life, they got identity, they come out this week and they look horrible. I mean, horrible, man. I don't understand. There's not a better word. I'm sure you come out with your list. Remember how you do those off-season lists of the top coordinators? And if you did a bottoms list, you got to put this man in there right now, because they are just pathetic at this point. And there's no reason South Carolina should have lost this game, man. Control Beatty. Okay, it's just I guess that's easier said than done. The guy's got like 50 touches, 500 yards in this game, This guy's got the ball so much, Mike, he's going to retire before he gets to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? He's going to look older in AP before he gets up there. So, but anyway, this is just an ugly, ugly game. Both sides of the ball. I'm so discouraged. I'm so discouraged with both teams right now. Mizzou started out so strong. They looked so good at times last year. I was like, man, just think about a full off season with Eli and the crew. This Mizzou team's really got something. I was really impressed with some of his offensive games last year, and it just feels like we never got it. And then South Carolina, we make excuses for them because it's a new coach. But guess what, man? There's a lot of new coaches in this league, and they're doing well. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason that South Carolina should look this damn sloppy this late in the season.
No, and, again, this all goes back to that running game. And Missouri, if there's one opponent you want to get your ground game going in the SEC, it's the Missouri Tigers. They cannot stop anybody. They showed life last week against Georgia. We didn't know if I was going to be a mirage or not, but let's credit Steve Wilkes. Maybe he solved this thing. 57 rushing yards for the Gamecocks. Now, that is sack adjusted of Jason Brown, minus 50 yards rushing. But that gives you an idea of they were all over his ass, all game long. And 1.6 rush per rush, 3.3 if you take out the sacks. Still, 3.3 is terrible.
Yeah, I guess the steel curtain of Mizzou,
But that's what they look like, didn't they?
I know. Damn, my high school team can put points on them boys. You know what I'm saying? So either they found a defense, Mike, or guess what? Our offense didn't adjust or didn't watch game film or just came into this thinking that they could just do what they did last week. Come on, man. Van ain't going to run around there and paint pictures in the end zone every week. You got to be productive. You got to be, I mean, there was just no counter for anything this entire game.
Right, and now you're in real dangerous territory if you're the Gamecocks, Shane, because if you don't make that bowl, you miss out on those crucial practice, which is what you need. But hell, maybe that gives you time to go out there and scout you a coordinator or new offensive line coach. You know what?
Absolutely.
Yeah, great team win for us. Always good to keep the Mayor's Cup where it belongs in the city of Columbia. You like that? Could have gone to either Columbia. But really good to have it right here. Questions?
Why was your rush defense so good? What's happened with your rush defense?
I think our linebackers are playing downhill and fitting gaps really well. I think we're being more structurally sound with how we play the run game and keeping contained and leverage, and I think we're tackling better.
Coach, what ended the decision to put Brady in at the end for the final drive?
I felt like we were going to need the quarterback run, and Connor was just wasn't moving the way I wanted him to, and that last pick just we needed somebody who could be able to be a threat with his legs. And after that last holding call or whatever it was a nice job of Brady getting us back in a position to get a manageable third down.
Coach, you're smiling big time as you came off the field. What are you happiest about with this win?
A win. I mean, they're hard to get in the SEC, especially when you don't play particularly well in the fourth quarter offensively and have 2 turnovers. So to find a way to gut it out for Tyler Beatty again, just like the Vanderbilt game, just like the Central Michigan game, to find a way to eat up the clock and rush the ball the way he did that was a big one for us.
5 wins, how much of a carrot is bowl eligibility for this group?
It's the whole goal right now. It's the whole goal. We got seniors that deserve an opportunity to go, and we're going to have to all rally together and find a way to play better and get better this week in order to do that.
Hey, Shane, just the offensive line's problems. It seemed like they really just couldn't get on the same page. Missouri was sending a lot of free rushers at times. What was the main issue there tonight?
It was a host of things. Sometimes when you're in a 5-man protection and they bring 6, we got to get rid of the ball. There were certainly some times where we had a couple of communication issues and turned some guys free that shouldn't happen or that we shouldn't have. And frankly, that shouldn't happen in the 10th game of the season. So really, really disappointing overall from that standpoint to have that. Missouri, I told you guys, they played better defensively last week against Georgia against the run. And, you know what you're going to get with them. They line up in man coverage and that's what they do, and give them credit. They did a good job. We hit some plays on them in the passing game. We had some guys open in the passing game that we weren't able to get the ball to, but we didn't play well enough, and we certainly didn't coach well enough tonight.
Hey, Shane, your 3 running backs carried it 30 times. Considering what Missouri had been doing against the run all season, I know you said they looked better against Georgia. Do you think you attacked them with the run enough throughout the entire game?
Well, we ran the ball. Let me see. We ran, yeah. I mean, what do we have? Total plays, 65 plays, and we handed it to the running backs almost half the time. And certainly we got into a position at the end where the tempo we had to crank up the tempo a little bit to get, points, with the time becoming an issue for sure. But yeah, I do feel, we had 65 plays. I know they had some struggles against the run. And again, I told you guys, a lot of that got skewed a little bit against Tennessee early in the season. Tennessee ran for 400 yards or whatever it was. They're better against the run. Georgia couldn't run the ball last week against them in the first half. We should have been able to run the ball better than what we did tonight. And we didn't. And that's certainly, disappointing, but we tried some different schemes and tried to mix it up a little bit as well, but it wasn't good enough. But yeah, I certainly feel like we tried to attack them with the running game. We got in there and got multiple tight end sets and ran the power play, ran the counter play, ran inside zone, ran outside zone, ran all the stuff that we did last week against Florida. And obviously it looked a lot better last week than what it did tonight.